machination, bigger your synergy over it. Positive vibes and smolder it in our essence for free. Cancel madness with the vibes and kill them benevolently and evidently. We can
What up?
The bohemians living minds with readers from belittlement, self-balance, light and high through the medium. Discipline and control until the hinge on the shoulder like choosing. So now I'm high on life, this invention I slow so unusual through the world. Time and I truly quarrel. My mind is to root this world and this tree of life designing flows through the flow. The school ain't teach this. Participated every day in class, but the neocortex was in it speechless. The information I didn't need, forced to take, never then believed. Made me question what the...
Yo, what up? Welcome to Mental Arts Dojo 01 with Sly Watts IT. We're going to be breaking down Voyage today. We have him, he's the guest of honor. Sly Watts IT, hailing from New Orleans, not only a rapper, but a producer, genius. And yeah, we got him in here. We're going to be introducing him, breaking down, and maybe even get into some ciphering in a little bit. So I'm your host, Cool IT, and I.the.cool, and hope you guys enjoy this. Just going to go ahead and bring him right in. Sly Watts IT. This is War with the Dragon. Yo,
What's good?
what up, IT? How you doing, bro?
I'm better today. It's been I don't this lymph node shit.
Well, you styling out, man. I see you. You styling out.
I thought it would make me feel better.
100%, bro.
I've been feeling better. So all that matters.
100%, man. You look good, bro. You know what I'm saying? You look like you out here. You're shining. You know what I mean? You vibrant. You got your thing going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
So, we're here to break down Voyage. So, Voyage.
Yeah.
What is the thought process behind creating a piece like this? Like,
So I want to preface this for anyone who does watch this in the future, or who's on with us now who doesn't know in depth. Me and Cool IT are both part of SOSA, called Society of Spoken Art. And please stop me at any point if I'm saying anything that's not supposed to be said aloud, public. But over there it was founded by Lupe Fiasco, IT, and over there we study like communication theory and poetics and computation, and then we break down like raps and stuff. We will also have verse assignments every week within the past year, and we had a final, right? Like a final verse to submit. Now I'm not gonna go in depth about my final, but I played on this concept of world destruction and artificial intelligence, and me being the artificial intelligence, kind of destroying the world. So Voyage kind of continues that storyline. It's in that same world. It's actually really dark. I think it's a projection of my mood as a recent, but I'll kind of base the entire verse around like, I'm gonna come back and finish the job again. You should thought it was done. Like I left Earth to kind of destroy the rest of the universe, and now I'm back because y'all thought y'all had this shit figured out. Like, nah, fuck all that. I'm back. And the other part of it, like from a more personal standpoint, I talked to you about it. Was just how, like lately, like moving put me in a different kind of writer's block, and it felt like a failure because I haven't dealt with that in like years, right? And it just felt like a disservice to the material we've learned as far as like writer's block not really being something you should ever encounter like that. But I just felt locked out, and like, yeah, I'm doing all things crazy and like, artistically and musically, but like my pen was just like dead. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So this was that exercise, right? Pun intended. And I was just like taking all of what I've learned and applying it in the wild, right? Applying without an assignment, without, I mean, it's kind of was because you asked for a verse to break down, but there's like no prompt, you know, my thing.
But I feel like sometimes though it takes that to kind of bring it back. You know what I mean? Like when I listen to something like a piece like Voyage, it feels like the weights are off. You know what I mean? Like the training wheels are gone. Like yo, I'm gonna give the dope a 16. I'm gonna hit this cadence. I'm gonna make sure that everything is in alignment. You know what I mean? Like listening to this piece, it doesn't feel like something that's like that should be taken lightly. You know what I mean? It feels like something that's like you went in and like not only did you go in, it feels like there's a lot of layers and there's a whole different type of thing that maybe even pays homage to your own style and your own thing. And people don't know this, but you also produce that beat on there too, which I think is like phenomenal. You know what I mean? Not only did you rap, you also did the music behind it. So it's something that I think we should specify and let people know because it's not easy for you to be able to master kind of both lanes and be able to give a product like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank you, by the way, for just shedding light on that, because it does take a lot of time, this and counting to like master, and not just music and bars, but like art, design, etc. You know, it's a constant, like you're constantly learning. You know, um, you're constantly challenging yourself. You know, I like to think of it as like being around shit or around people that can kick my ass or that think, you know, because that keeps me from getting too comfortable, you know, or like I have to go back in the mud, you know, because that keeps me like hungry for like more, or hungry for a different kind of challenge, you know.
Right. It's the steel sharpens steel. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
me going into the series, I know that like yo, like there's other ITs, there's other superb lyricists that are coming after me. You know what I mean? For myself personally, when I see a piece like this, it's like you can't hold back. You know what I mean? You gotta just lay it out. It's like Jordan when he goes out and he hoops. That's kind of what it is. You know what I mean? You can't like what I'm saying? You're not really playing like you're playing around, but it ain't really playing around. You know what I'm saying? It's like yo, you gotta snap. It's kind of what it is, right? And I feel
yeah,
like you did that though. I do feel like you did that a lot. I feel like for me listening to this, it feels like a more like a cadence piece. Like it feels like you got a lot of like wordplay and like the caliber. Like you got a few things going on in there that's like very like slick. But also feel like to me the main thing that caught my attention was the cadence, being able to hold that scheme for so long, the high energy, the multiple quick rhymes, the alliteration. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's so many layers to it that's like it's impressive to me just hearing it. You know what I mean? Like I don't even have to know anything, but just the flow of it is like very like musically like pleasing to the ear, sonically pleasing to the ear. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
I feel like it's something that's like I can't wait to get into the concept of it fully and kind of get into the nicks of it. You know what I mean? And kind of see what you got with that, right? Do you mind just giving us a quick deconstructive version, a quick like kicking it back to us, kind of hear it from you type of situation?
Not mine at all. Yeah, so it's like I astronaut helmet off at first and get to work on Earth to design an event. My presence alone carries out the events. More spots you've been sent. Truth is, my movement here lives and then occurs in simultaneous catastrophic events. I'm a motherfucking Metatron, a Megatron, living upon this echelon you're never on. It's out the ass. That prolapse collapsed, then my synapses go on and run laps, fall off, then relapse. In short, my motherfucking mind snaps. Strong-headed, never dizzy even on nights in Tunisia. Trickling in my mind, this ain't Venetian Roman, this procedured. Facts only when I make my point to search and then you'll reach the young web. All my sense connected like my synesthesia. Tapped in, being normal, I can't fathom. Y'all want Cal Abar, truth told, I'm motherfucking Dr. Manhattan. Y'all treat this cat wrong, I ain't exotic. While you laugh and sing about it, I give y'all a Carol the damn Baskin. Put my helmet back on to Voyage, got the last laughing with X marking while I be traveling. Moving with more exchanges than transactions. Yeah, and it's kind of,
Bars,
yeah.
world premiere. No, I'm just kidding. Yo, all right, like and I know we talked a little bit about this kind of behind the scenes. I asked you something like, to me, this Voyage piece, it when I hear this, let's say not knowing any backstory to do with the setting, the story, to me it feels like it's playing on the life and death situation. The helmet is like peeling the helmet off is you being born because you said being the prolapse and all types of different things. Like it feels like it's like taking the helmet off is you coming into this world, you landing on Earth, you're gonna do your thing. Helmet's back on, you're gone. It's like a time frame, you know. And I know to me, even if that's like something that's unintentional, it's still something that I could pull away from, not knowing any backstory. And I feel like that's something that's really ill about rap. It's like everybody with their own database can kind of like pull certain things out that we might not even have, like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like everybody bases it on what they think, and it's like, to me that's dope that way because it's like words got like their own different meanings. Like growing up in a different place from you, you know, I might see something a certain way versus how you see it, you know. So can you tell us the exact like intention even behind like writing a piece like this? Like I know it's the part two of essentially something that can't really source, but it's putting you back in this world, this post-apocalyptic world. You're the AI. You come back to Earth to kind of do damage, essentially, right? You come back to spaz out, to snap, right?
Right.
When you're writing a piece like this, are you more focused on the bars? Are you more focused on the storyline? Are you more focused on just the flow of conscious? Like, how do you approach this? You go into it like I'm writing a part two, or do you just go in like, yo, it's time for me to take the weights off. It's time for me to just go off. You know what I mean? Like, how does Sly Watts IT do this?
I just want to say, first of all, it's just fucking nuts that you that it's about like life and death. That's crazy. And even that you found that you thought I played on Cal A Bar and I didn't, but that's nuts.
It's the beautiful accidents, you know? IT.
But yeah, it was kind of like it was like the source of inspiration, right? Like because I said like I needed to bring my pen back to life, right? So I went to the last time I felt like I was some kind of high and was like, I'm gonna use this as a reference. And it wrote itself almost tacitly or like unconsciously. And by the end of it, I realized this is actually the same storyline because this was the sole inspiration for it. But I was thinking about all of those very technical things that I find myself to be skilled at, right? Like tone, certain consonants and assonants, like especially in that piece with prolapse, collab, like that whole rhyme scheme, like the way the like how feminine or masculine the rhyme schemes are, and like how they ride on the beat and shit like that. Like these are more rhythmic things than technical things. Like, but I mean, it really is all technical, but they're not like literary, right? They're just like part of like the delivery. And I was really like cognizant on exercising that because it does have to like sound pretty to the ear for anyone to want to be invited to even take anything from it, right? But I was also like, I felt like I was lagging on just my connection to Entendre and like wordplay, right? But not wordplay for the sake of wordplay, but like wordplay with like concept around it. And so like, while I was doing all of this, I was also trying to build something that felt like the sole purpose is for you to hear bars, right? Because I know myself as an artist, I'm very focused on it as an artistic experience and as a musical experience, like a full experience. So that goes into the production, that goes into the sonic palette, like the tone of instruments, the mix, right? The way I rap it, you know, the I use the cadences, all that goes in. But I was like, I just want to find something that sounds cool and just kind of bar to death. Like I'm here kind of coming for blood.
It feels like that too, right? Yeah, like I said, it feels like that too. You know what I mean? Like like even off the jump, off the rip, saying like it feels very sonically pleasing. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like the main focus was the delivery. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's something that works very well with a storyline based rap. You know what I mean? Because sometimes a lot of rap is just punchlines, but the punchlines don't really mean anything. And it's no
Right.
problem if that's the style, right? But I feel like it kind of takes another level of like in-depth analysis and thinking and like critiquing to be able to kind of use these metaphors and entendres and comparisons and similes, you know, be able to actually construct them and package them in a way where it's like beneficial to what you're listening to. You know what I mean? And it's not like I'm just gonna make an abstract reference out of nowhere. It's like it's very like conceptually aware, right?
Right.
And I feel like it definitely played off in that sense. Like whether or not you even understand any references, it's just very like, yo, I could bang my head to this. You know what I mean? And
And I
100%.
like you don't have to have context to like appreciate it because on the surface it's still bumps, right? You know,
Right.
because majority of the world outside of like SOSA don't have the context, right? I don't even think all of y'all. I think you and maybe like Lupe, probably the only
I
IT
see.
final because I didn't share, right?
Right. Right.
So you know, no one really knows where I'm coming from, but they still appreciate it. I think because I prioritized all of those you know rhythmic things, uh,
Hmm.
flows, and hiding the entendre so much that you still kind of catch what's going on the surface, even if you don't know where it's really coming from, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
It kind of exists. It's like, you know, it's like a standalone sequel. No, I don't know if that's even a thing. Like, you know, when something exists in the same universe, and it's like you could watch the first movie to get the second movie, or you could just watch the second movie. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's something like that. It's like if you know, you know. If you don't know, you know what I'm saying? The other thing though too is I want to get into a little bit more like technical bars. Like, is there any specific bars that you wanted to highlight? Any certain things that you felt were like very slick? Because I know you had that scheme in the middle where like to me it feels like you're setting the tone in the first few bars. You're letting us know where we're at in terms of story, right? You're putting us in this situation where yo, you're an astronaut, you're landing on Earth, so already we know it's out of the world type of situation. That's otherworldly, you know, out of space type thing, right? Kind of air like alien type of situation, right? And right after that, you kind of go into the scheme where it's like you kind of deviate a little bit from the main storytelling style, and you just go into hit these quick flows to kind of like let off, but they still do tie in. You know what I mean? Like Megatron living on his echelon. You're never on like you hit these like very like beautiful like um cadence scheme. Like it's kind of like you spaz kind of. And the reason that I like that a lot is because it ties into the my mind snaps line. You know what I mean? It's like something that's like it's giving you a feeling that you can articulate with yourself. You know what I mean? It gives you like this thing that's like, damn, his mind did snap. You're right, he did snap. It made me kind of feel a little on edge. You know what I mean? Like, is there any specific parts in it that you wanted to highlight that you feel like the listeners should be directed to? We should go investigate this little bits to kind of get a little bit of a deeper understanding.
uh,
Kind of a loaded question, but you know?
I mean, there's a few of them for like different reasons. Like they're
Right.
not entendres, some of them, but like the Nights in Tunisia line, only because I want y'all to listen to A Night in Tunisia by Dizzy Gillespie. Like that was the play
Oh,
on
word. Okay. See, I
uh
didn't even catch that. I don't. I had no idea.
yeah. I made a Tiger King reference.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I caught that one for sure.
Carol Baskin, you know, treat this Caroline exotic, you know.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so y'all, you know, y'all solve that puzzle. On a personal, more sentimental kind of identity thing, it's my kind of loaded and full of it, but the Dr. Manhattan piece, like how often I don't feel like normal, right?
Mhm.
But I like playing with hyperbole a lot. You know what I mean? I don't know if y'all have noticed that hearing me rap, right? Like I love going to just the wildest exaggeration of certain braggadocio. And I think that was the first time I kind of embodied a hyperbole of me based on my skill set. Even though I know realistically I'm not Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan is not real. It's a character in Watchmen. Haven't watched Watchmen, which is the reference point. Go watch it on HBO. It's fucking amazing, right?
Yo, chill. HBO got to cut a check. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing. Yo.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, the whole verse feels like that for me, you know? Like, I try not to waste a moment lyrically, right? Because a lot of times I'll kind of take a break from, like, barring it to death for the sake of, like, saying something for style or flair, taste, or, like, just because it sounds hard but don't have too much substance around it, like on a metaphorical plane, but you know, it's like a quotable that's probably relatable or resonant. And I didn't take any moment to do that here. You know? Every single kind of bar, or at least majority of, is like some kind of exercise of like a literary device, whether it's metaphor, personification, or like a hyperbole or pun, you know. Yeah, like, so I don't know if that.
Nah. It does. The reason I'm laughing is because I kept saying entendre by accident. So my mind just thinks an entendre, so it's like, yo, I just laugh because I realize you're like classifying, you're breaking it down. You know what I'm saying? But it does kind of answer, and it feels like you're kind of pulling from a lot of like different like influences or like real life situations for you to kind of present it in the art, right? And as me, somebody who's also, you know, a rapper, lyricist, like I also do the same thing. So it's easy for me to understand that like the simplest of pieces is something that could reflect in, you know, things that just happened during your day or childhood memories or, you know, something that went on through your life, right? To somebody who is not, you know, as creatively inclined or somebody who doesn't really partake in art, and I feel like everybody should, and I feel like everybody has that potential. I feel like a lot of people don't exercise that. So I'm not speaking from a place of they don't got it, speaking of a place, you know, they might not pursue it, but that's kind of another note, right? How does your influences tie into shape like a verse like this? Like, what is it that made Sly Watts IT Sly Watts IT? You know what I mean? Like, how does that kind of work?
Like as a lyricist, right? Or is it just a creative in general?
This is everything. Like, you know, you're making comic book references, you're making some current events references to keep people on their toes. You know what I'm saying? Like some Jay-Z OT type situation. You know what I mean? You're kind of hitting that Nights in Tunisia. Like even that, I didn't get the reference, but to me, it just kind of painted a picture. It was very like imagery. You know what I mean? Like, oh damn, why Tunisia? You know, like the minute I heard that, I'm like, there's a bar in there somewhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, it just sounded dope. Like it sounded something like it was painting a picture, like some like geographical type of situation, because you know the Earth references at like, you know what I mean. There's a few things, right? So for you, all these references, are you like, you just specifically pull from things that you're completely influenced, like super things that you're into? Like kind of speak on that a little bit, if you can.
Yeah, I mean, I try to treat the world. I say this a lot to people. Like I treat the world like a sponge, or my brain is a sponge to the world. I just butchered that, but yeah, like absorbing everything from as many places as possible. But in here, the reference point was like things I'm already in, like watching Watchmen to even had that reference. You know, listening to Dizzy Gillespie had that reference. You know?
Right.
And watching Tiger King that had that reference.
Right.
If I didn't, and I wanted the reference, then I would just research about it. You know, that word sounds cool. I wanna add that in here. You know, this has a specific tone when you say it that just kind of complements the flow of this verse, right? And I prioritize things like that because it's not just about message, how it's being said, right? And how that hits the ear. I think before, but Honestly, like most things I reference are things like I'm familiar with.
Hmm.
And I've really wide kind of palette of interests that might surprise people a lot of the time.
Right.
But yeah, and I think that that helps me too because uh, I know I can be kind of discontinuous and jumping like place to place or world to world with like ideas and reference points. Like these are like very unrelated. Like you went from talking about a controversial redneck to jazz. Like what? Um, yeah, and I think that that keeps people on like the edge of their seat, you know, because they don't know where it's gonna go next, right?
Hmm.
As well as like the flows, you know, the way I try to, what I did, you know, the way I like changed it up here and there, you know,
Right.
keep one scheme.
And even the thing though too with you saying the different like worlds, like to me that's very MF Doom OT-esque. Like to me that's something that like me who's a fan of Doom, um, I feel like that's something that I also learned from there, right? For you, do you have any specific influences or inspiration that you've like picked up these certain things that's like you know for a fact like yo it's undeniably from this type of situation, right? Is any like who are your inspirations, Sly Watts IT? If you
Yeah.
don't mind me asking, like
Oh
learn
no
a
no.
little bit more about you, you know?
Yeah, I mean I have different influences like as an artist overall and then like as a producer, but as a lyricist, like as a writer,
Yeah,
definitely right. Lupe IT, you
of
know,
course.
I go hide it, right? Absol IT, right? The Big L, right? OT. I don't know
Right.
if and you know some Nas OT. Like I
Yeah,
had
of course.
I think it was Nas and Lupe IT like when I was like 14 and just like absorbing all of that. Um, I remember hearing Infinite by Eminem and like to this day that just sticks with me as far as like what he did with rhyme scheme and vocabulary, right? Like I think we make fun of that now, like because of how like disingenuous it is when certain people do that. But that just felt
Mm.
like purest exercise of technical skill because it all just made sense and it was genius. If y'all haven't heard Infinite, um, highly recommend it. Like it's a whole different type of Eminem. It's like from 96, 95.
It's different. It's different.
Very
I'm pretty sure I like delved into it a few times, and I remember I was just surprised at how like different it was versus
yeah. And I think
the
subconsciously
different
I
stuff, right?
first, right? Like the way kind of he just keeps going, right? And it's almost like he's like almost like you've mentioned and then the verse you had and like it just feels like shadow boxing, right? It just feels like you're training in your form, you know?
Hmm.
Uh, constant movement, constant it feels almost like a literary version of physically just exercising the body, right?
Right.
And so it just feels like when I write these bars, I'm getting in shape. I hope that don't sound kind of cheesy, but
Nah. I get what you mean 100%. It's the same thing for me. You know what I mean? Like I pull back to the certain verses you write, certain feelings that you get, and then you feel like you haven't had that too. And then once you try to put yourself back in that state, you kind of like birth something else that you can also use. And it's like a thing where it's like there's certain times when your pen is just on point. Oh man, that's mad cheesy, bro. But you know what I'm saying? Like the certain, so, yeah, no pun intended. You know what I mean? But like there's certain times where it's like a different type of thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like with something like Voyage, it feels like you kind of came out the box. Like, oh man, that's enough. Yo, that's bars though. That's bars. Came up to box. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Now I'm playing, but you know what I mean? Like, and me personally, I really enjoyed this like piece. Like, I feel like this would be something that I would even just have on loop, like on my own type of thing. You know what I mean? The beat went crazy. I'm gonna have to hit you for that for the remix. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
I mean,
know what I mean?
it was really blank, right? I even thought of myself because I kind of did already. Like I took a little piece of it
Hmm.
from some already kind of drafted, and I was like, I don't really like this, so I kind of brought this in to kind of build the concept was that Metatron, Megatron, Echelon rhyme scheme. Right.
Right.
Started doing that things first. Excuse me. So I mean, if you're trying to build this together, like that's cool.
You know? Oh yeah, 100%. And I'm gonna just quickly sit here just to give you your roses while you're on this live. When we chopped it up at the you know, wherever we chopped it up at, you know what I mean? That's something that I started doing too, that I picked up off of you. You say one word and then you double and triple and quad, like stack on it. You know what I mean? I call it like a stack. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that when I seen that and I witnessed that live, I was like, yo, like that's something, like I like that. Like it's influential to me to keep my pen game up. You know what I'm saying? And it's like something that's like, to me, if somebody inspires me or something, like I'm gonna let you know. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm gonna run away with the sauce. Like, nah, I feel like that even just, you know, brushing shoulders with you in terms of that has something that has elevated my pen game as well for myself, right? And I feel like that's certain techniques, even just seeing it in here, it's visually like, or sonically like just beautiful. Like, and I know I keep saying this, but it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that's like, I would listen to this again, like a lot, you know what I mean? And it's not something that's like, you know what I mean? It ain't no throwaway verse, bro. This is Sly Watts in his field. You know what I mean? So gotta let you know, you know?
I would also, because I forgot, and he's a major Jay Monica.
Oh yeah, of course. It's coming.
Yeah, like especially like he's just got this grasp on like imagery.
Right.
He just says really like esoteric things. Like, where did you pull this from? Like, what universe did you pull that from? That concept, right? And that, I think that kind of informed this verse as well. And even studying like Black Thought IT and like how he kind of just he's got a format that's never gonna break or dry out, because he just knows how to keep going in that. It does that same concept, right? Like stacking lyrically, like with your words and stuff, and all of it sounds sonically beautiful, but the substance of it is like, whoa, this is actually much deeper than how pretty it sounds.
I feel like that's the next level. You know what I mean? Like you can sugarcoat your raps as much as you want, but once you get to that level of, yo, your raps sound dope and they like there's meaning behind it, I feel like that's like the holy grail of like rap. Like when you get to that level where your concept and your flows and your meaning and everything is like actually adding value, like it's actually, as you know, as the Lou IT would say, add value, but like it actually is something that's beneficial. I feel like that's kind of the goal. You know what I mean? Like the more I listen to rap personally, the more like you hear certain techniques with rappers where it's like, okay, I know that technique. Like I've heard that, I've done that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And there's a long way to go for me, like to learn everything. You know what I'm saying? Like still like a little white belt, you know? So what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's kind of the thing. And I feel like the masters are very well in that, where it's like all the categories are there. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ever play like 2K, like 99 overall, you know? So that's kind of a piece on that, you know?
Yeah. You got to break it down now.
Oh yeah, you got to break the verse down, man. I mean, damn, we've been talking for like 30 minutes. I thought we broke it down. Yo, all right, let's go through it. Okay, so go ahead, do your thing.
So, okay, yeah. So that first one, I take my astronaut helmet off at first and get to work on Earth, you know. So in the last verse, you know, or the last rap, right, that this references, at the end, I kind of leave the world as we know it to go to the world. That's a thing, artificial intelligence, you know, that's like destroyed the world. So I'm kind of operating as this extraterrestrial, and I'm coming back, you know. So I'm kind of setting the tone for like the personification, right? Excuse me. And also for the storyline. Like the beginning is I'm here, and then the end is like I'm taking off again, right? My work is done, right? So I follow up with to design and invent. So kind of give more context on the previous verse. over time, this kind of character was just kind of losing his mind, right? Getting to, like, he thought he was doing the right thing, right? Like doing all this. So that's kind of like hidden in there as like a sort of delusion dynamic, right? Like he thinks he's about to invent and design, but in reality, they're all about destruction, right? And then I follow up and I say, my presence alone carries out the events, you know. And then I follow up and I say, from all spots you descend. Truth is, my movement here lives, and then occurs simultaneous catastrophic events. So that whole thing is like me trying to assert this braggadocious kind of claim, this hyperbole, like I am omniscient, I am everywhere, I am all around being, like you cannot escape me, right? Like, so that's why I say from all spots you've been sent. Like, no matter wherever you are, I'm at as well, right?
Dope.
It carries out through events. Like, I wanted to paint this kind of imagery of like me being like almost gaseous, right? And just kind of coming out events, like literally, right? Because that feels like almost inescapable, unless you close the vent. But no closed vents. And so then I kind of go into the movement, right? I think my movement here lives. The movement being this kind of mission, right? But also being me literally being all around, right? Being everywhere. Like literally my movement, but also this cause.
The grander movement of things. Right.
And that occurs at simultaneous catastrophic events, right? Again, the mission being to destroy the world, right? And that's happening everywhere. That's why the events are catastrophic. That's why they're simultaneous, because I'm omniscient. They're omniscient. The AI is omniscient. You can't escape it. You can't escape the wrath of this kind of destruction, right? So then I go into talking about being this Metatron, right? And being this like this being that's like kind of arrogant in a sense, right? In the sense that like it's above rule, because that's where I was coming from in the last verse. Like I'm above any kind of rule, and I play on that, and I mentioned being a Megatron, man, which is like this metaphor for like technology and artificial intelligence again. And then I bring it back to a Metatron, and I say I'm living on this echelon you're never on, right? And I kind of break that entire like dynamic, which was like this disequilibrium I was building, right? Like this kind of you're not on my level type of thing. And I just kind of become obnoxious for a moment, like it's out the ass. This is all out. Like this more casual kind of shift, this transition in the verse, right? And that's prolapse, because that was kind of like a reference to a rectal prolapse, right? Where it slips out of the body via, messed up image. But and to me that also reminds me of a collapse, right? And that's a complete thought right there. That prolapse, collapse, done. And then I start a new thought, right? On and run laps. So it's like this nervous condition, right? Like these nerves are like constantly on the run.
Right.
AI is nuts, right? Falls off, right? Meaning like I calm down and then I say I relapse, right? So that prolapse, collapse, then my synapses go on and run laps, fall off, then relapse. Meaning like
continuous cycle.
And that's why I finish it off and I say, in short, my motherfucking mind snaps, right? Like that's kind of the basis of what I'm on. That's what I'm doing.
You're building it up for that delivery. Like you're giving us that the mind snapped through the previous bars, and at the end you're just wrapping it up basically. No pun
Yeah.
intended, kind of, and then you're ready to like move on to the next point type thing, right?
Yeah. And that's kind of all just connected to like this narrative, right? But I know it probably doesn't come off like that at face value, but all of that is like connected from start to finish, right?
Right.
And so I kind of bounced off of that, right? And I mentioned being strong-headed. Line being strong-headed, never dizzy, even on nights in Tunisia.
That's bars.
And I mentioned being strong-headed because the idea of being like this nervous wreck, I would think of it as an unstable person. But this kind of delusional being is like, nah, it's still a heavy head. Like, I'm still here, you know. I'm not dizzy. I'm not like stunned. I'm not incapable. I'm not unstable. But I said never dizzy to play on a night in Tunisia.
But I rock with that dizzy, strong-headed third, like it's like a 3 connect. You know what I'm saying? Like strong-headed in the dizzy part. I feel like it elevates the bar even higher than what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like I love those extra references that just push the piece. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's just genius to me. You know?
Yeah. And for y'all, you know, who don't know, I mentioned it before. The play on the bar is based on a song called "A Night in Tunisia" by Dizzy Gillespie, and that's kind of the basis of that, right? I feel like I kept it on the surface. I could have picked a higher fruit. I wanted to play with that as far as like style and energy at moment in the verse, because I finished this first 8 and I needed to finish stronger, leading into the next 8. Like, how do we keep people on the edge of their seat, right? And so then I continue. I say, trickling in my mind, this ain't Venetian, comma, Roman, comma, this procedure, period, right? So I'm mentioning like trickling in my mind, which is to me is also like roaming in my head, right? But I played roaming as if I was saying Roman, which is why I said this ain't Venetian, because Venus is in Italy, right? And I'm finishing by saying this procedure, meaning like it's a process roaming through my mind, right? That's the whole basis of that bar, you know? And that whole 2-bar kind of thing sets up the atmosphere where I'm at mentally, outside of like the rage and the wildness, you know, like I see this as a whole procedure, and that this is a sane mind doing all of this. I don't think this is nuts at all. Yeah, I'm just in my head and doing it all. And so I continue. I say facts only when I make my point. You search and then you reach the young web, all my sense connected like my synesthesia. So this is like a moment where I'm using young web as a metaphor, right? Because I'm the young web, but web is like this menem for the internet. Like I'm ending myself to be the internet and associating myself with such. Internet being a source of information and data and facts and points, right? That you can search and reach places, right? So I'm telling you that it's facts only when I make my point and compare myself, because I'm this artificial intelligence, right? That's kind of like deeply hidden in there, right?
Quick question: was that a Spider-Man reference too?
No.
Okay, that's crazy, bro. Like, young web, all my senses connect. Like, you know what I'm saying? That to me, and then the Dr. Manhattan, I'm like, yo, this guy's hitting some comic book references.
That's nuts, man.
I'm just saying, I don't know. It could be like a subconscious thing too, you know?
Yeah.
But that's ill. Well, sorry to get you off your train of thought, though, you know?
I was really sensed to like points. In
Right.
fact, like all of my sense connected, meaning like all of this is making sense to me, because a part of this database, right? And then I compared that to synesthesia, which is like this overstimulation of the senses in a way that's connected, right? And so then I continue on, right? I said, tapped in, being normal, I can't fathom. Y'all want Cal A-Bar, truth told, I'm motherfucking Dr. Manhattan. And this was like a moment that was more like sentimental and more like a stream of consciousness, right? Like, I was here to kind of play more on the fact that I'm not a usual being because I'm not from this. And it sets up the bar about Tiger King, right? Because I'm telling you that, like, I'm not a normal being. And you might see me that way. That's why I compared it to Cal A-Bar and Dr. Manhattan. Because Cal A-Bar in Watchmen is the husband of the main character, this night. He presents as this black guy who's just a house husband. Reality, Dr. Manhattan is this like all ability, all knowing, eternal life form. Well, technically not, because he died then.
Spoiler alert.
Kind of like a right? Or like the Demon King or something. Right? Guy's head, there's like no limits. And I think that Dr. Manhattan was like a dark way to these characters. And so I continue and I say, y'all treat this cat wrong, I ain't exotic. Meaning like, I'm not a zoo animal. You know? I'm not this attraction that you can laugh at, you know, that you can mock in song or in conversation, you know. And I use cat casually, you know, but it was put there to set up the reference point, because I was talking about
that's ill. That's ill. That's ill. That's ill. I like that cat, like, because I know I think, is that specifically from New York, like New York slang, when you say cat?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think pop culture.
Yeah, it might be hip hop culture. You're right. Yeah. That's ill though. I like that.
So yeah, I say y'all treat this cat wrong. I'm exotic. Why you laugh and sing about it? I'll give y'all the Carol the damn Baskin. Right. Remember I just mentioned like being laughed at in songs. So I'm like, when you laughing and singing about this, you know, I'll show you what to really laugh at, right? That's what I'm kind of referencing. That's why I mentioned a carol, because you sing in carols. But it also references Carol Baskin in Tiger King, who was being ridiculed by Joe Exotic, right? And this is a guy that ends up in prison, right? And she's kind of like got the last laugh, you know? So then I continue and I say, well, no, I also want to say for that point in the verse, was like me wrapping up the story. It was almost like a climax. Because this is like, you know, I've done the job, right? And I've shown you I can be destructive, you know, or most of I talked about it, you know. And so then I continue, I say, put my helmet back on to voyage. Got the last laughing, right? With X marking where I be traveling, moving with more exchanges than transactions. And that's how I finish. And so when I think of travel, I made this comparison almost to like pirate culture, right? Like X marking spot, right? And I'm this voyaging, traveling being that's kind of destroying the world at my leisure, and laughing it off because people are not taking me serious. And so I mentioned that the X changes, right? Like because the place changes, you know. but I also used it as a play on exchange. And a transaction is like an exchange. So I said with more exchanges than transactions.
And I feel like this line is like, it gives, to me, when I hear this, it puts the word sporadic in my brain. You know what I mean? Like, because the whole flow has been kind of like, it feels like that energy. You know what I'm saying? Like raw on edge as a listener. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, to me, when I hear that, it like plants that thought. I don't know if that's intentional, if that's not, but like moving with more exchange, like the path is always changing. Things are consistently moving. And I feel like it brings it back to that motion piece that you kind of introduced in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's like, yo, I love very well written raps, and I feel like this is something that's very well written in terms of start to finish, middle part, even the part when you see your climax. Like, you're right. After that, it felt like you were wrapping things up. After that line, it felt like it's not going any further in terms of the story. It's kind of like you know, it's the last scene before the credits roll around. You know what I'm saying? Everything's been resolved, and it's like on to the next. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's very top-notch writing. And I feel like the piece with the exotic line and the cat and the carol and the singing and like, I feel like that's very, it's like very so it's like a blueprint. You like you were like an architect for it. You know what I mean? And I appreciate raps like this a lot because it's like you did tweak it. Like, it's like when somebody does this, you know that they're using a certain level of, they're trying to refine it to a point where it's like very respectable to me as somebody who raps. It's very like, I appreciate that because I know that somebody who does also like to do that, it's dope when you can see somebody else also providing that piece. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that's like, to me, is very ill. Like, I feel like I got a lot of insight that I wouldn't have picked up just by listening to it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's something that's definitely like very, very, very well written, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just kind of emphasize too, like when I mentioned putting the helmet back on, it's back to the first line.
Back to the mission.
You know, like I came here, I took this helmet off, and I'm like, all right, it's time to do my deed. I go brag about myself and brag about how I'm everywhere, and sort of just show people where I'm coming from and express how people don't take me serious. And then I prove them wrong. I put that helmet back on because my mission's complete, and I head out. Right? Simple as that. It's a very simple story, but within the story, there's a lot of things going on. And I like that. I like, you know, when people can still access on a certain surface, you know, and they have to feel uninvited. You know, they don't feel like, oh, that's not for me. You know, but it doesn't stop them from being challenged further. You know, because there's like, I'm spoon feeding them at the same time and telling them like, actually, there's more. It's like, ooh, piece of candy. Yeah.
100% IT. Like, I feel like even me, I'm gonna try to delve into this, try to even pick up my own meanings. You know what I'm saying? Just try to like spend more time with this. You know what I mean? And I was kind of trying to like figure it out on my own, but I feel like there's so many different, like, it's like peeling back like the brain of Sly Watts IT. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's something that you know, that should be appreciated. You know what I'm saying? It's something that, you know, somebody who's crafting at this level should be able to get the roses and flowers. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I thank you for your time. I know we're getting pretty close to the time limit, and so is there anything that you know you wanted to say your ad before we kind of like wrap it up type of situation?
I mean, how much time do we have?
Oh man, like probably like 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know? Yeah,
y'all. Thank y'all for y'all's time. Thanks everyone to just listening and for the support. I'm currently, as an artist and as a designer, looking for work. Know anyone? You can go to the link in my bio and look for the Behance link. It's like my visual portfolio for design, art, and animation. There's a lot of music in the works of multiple styles, not just lyrically, but like sonically and artistically. I know I've been kind of ghost on the internet in a certain way, but that's because life be being life.
100%.
And shout out to Cool IT. Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, man. You ain't got to do me like that, man.
And the GOAT, man. Stop.
Yo, yo, bro, I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate seeing you, Sly Watts. It's good to see that you're doing well. It's good to see that your pen is very much in shape. I'm about to go. You send me that beat. I got to write my own voyage, you know what I mean? And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow Sly Watts IT. A lot of great raps, a lot of great performances, a lot of great designs, great concepts. One of the most artistically inclined people that I personally know. And I feel like he should get his flowers while he's here. So if you guys could definitely, you know, reach out to him, make sure that, you know, touch base with him, make sure you show him a lot of love. It's not every day that you kind of run into somebody who's very, you know, to me, Sly Watts IT is a genius. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And, you know, thank you for tuning in. And Sly, we'll talk behind the scenes more, 100%. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully we can start the freestyle segment, the cypher segment of this next week. I know we're cutting very close to the time, but I feel like it was something that was very much needed because it provided a clarity. And I feel like, you know, nowadays it's not something that you do find with a lot of bars that you can kind of peel back everything for, right? So that's kind of my piece. And, you know, I'll see you on the other side, brother. 100%.
Stay warm, stay dry.
100%, man. You too. And Dan, this poster peeling off, man. Shout out to One Piece, bro. You already know. Deuces, bro.